Hello, welcome once again to Leto's Law. I'm Steve Leto. Today is Casual Saturday. I mentioned that I was sick this past week, and a couple days disappeared into a blur of being sick and medications and so on. I'm all better now, and I was uploading my last podcast of the week, and I realized that it didn't dawn on me that it was Friday. How did that happen? Shouldn't somebody send me a memo? So I am going to record this podcast, put it up on Saturday, probably still use the nomenclature for Casual Friday simply because I like using the word nomenclature in a sentence. I will also tell you as a note of trivia, you may have noticed that there are now advertisements on the channel, and I've monetized the channel, and I hope you don't mind that. But the strange thing is it has some side effects. And I have to tell you that I shot a video about a week ago, and I don't want to say the word out loud because it might cause me some problems. But I mentioned a type of industry in America, and I made fun of it for 20 minutes. And I posted the video. And in the old days, I would have just done that and would have gotten some flack probably from somebody in the industry, but not much. And unfortunately, I got a note from YouTube saying, hey, you can't run this video because you mentioned an industry and they're a big advertiser. And, we have to flag your video to make sure that, those ads don't get placed on your video. And I didn't want to go there. So I just simply pulled the video entirely. I don't want you to think it's like a lost, Beatles tape or something. It's probably not that funny. Uh, but I have to tell you, I was wearing the Manchester United shirt in that video, which made me think that maybe there's something going on there. Whenever I wear this shirt, which is not that often on video, I get a lot of hate from people who don't like Man U. And then, of course, I get a lot of love from the people who do. And, of course, the ironic thing is that no one in America knows what this is. Very few people do. I got this friend from my very good friend Simon, who lives over there, and I had him get me this because I'm a big fan of Man U. And at least I used to be when I had a cable channel that carried a lot of their matches. Having changed cable providers, I don't see them as often as I used to, but I used to watch a lot of Premier League football, or as in America we call it, soccer. So the people over here, it's not controversial, but over there, so I will get 2 or 3 comments in the comments below this video saying, Steve, love the Man U shirt, and a couple more saying, Steve, you're an idiot for wearing a Man U shirt. I understand. It's the same kind of thought process we have over here. If you tell people you like the New York Yankees, okay, or the Boston Red Sox. And by the way, you can't like both, right? So that's how that works, and I understand it. So today's topic, though, comes to me from a news story that a friend of mine tweeted about, and it's kind of funny because this is off of CNN, so I'm sure you can confirm this is a true story. But a man trying to kidnap a woman, I believe in North Carolina, which I did a video about recently, different story, trying to kidnap a woman. She escaped and she ran into a nearby business. And she ran into the business and asked the business owner to help her. And the man chased her into the business and said, in essence, that woman's coming with me. And the business owner said, no, she's not. And I'll just give you the headline and you can see where this is going. Cops say a would-be kidnapper chased a woman into a karate studio. That was a bad move. And it ends exactly the way you think. And it ends the way you hope, okay? A man trying to kidnap a woman by forcing her into his car in North Charlotte, Carolina. She broke free and ran into a nearby karate studio pleading for help. The suspect wound up leaving the building in a stretcher. That's the happy ending. The incident happened at 9 p.m. Thursday outside, make sure I get this right, Bushikan Karate Charlotte Dojo, according to CNN affiliate WSOC and the head instructor, Randall Ephraim. And I'll tell you right now, Ephraim told CNN he was straightening up the dojo, which is Japanese for a studio or school, and the karate studio, when the woman rushed inside. There were still some kids in the dojo being picked up by parents and a couple of adult students cleaning up when a young lady came through our doors and stated that someone was trying to harm her, he told CNN. Shortly afterwards, a big male entered the building, he said. Not knowing what he wanted, I assumed he was inquiring about classes. So I asked, how could I assist him? And he stated that he was there for the lady. She insisted that she did not know him and he was trying to kidnap her. Ephraim said he then asked the man to leave, but he stated he was not going anywhere. He then tried to force himself further into the dojo, aggressively pushing and swinging, the instructor said. You understand this is the fantasy of every Taekwondo or karate instructor in America, okay? Not looking for violence, but the righteous chance to use it. He then says, I then went into action defending myself and I got him out of the dojo. Once outside, he attempted to attack again and was dealt with accordingly. He was dealt with accordingly. Oh my gosh, I wish I had film of this. The suspect tried to assault police officers. Look, your day is already going really, really badly when you've chased a woman into a karate studio and the instructor beats you up. When the police show up, just quit. Just quit. You don't think you can go any lower. You can always auger deeper into the ground. Stop. You're done. Okay. So the suspect tried to assault police officers before he was arrested. He was taken to the hospital with injuries. No word on his condition at this point. And there's a great photograph on CNN of Ephraim, who is the instructor at Bushikin Karate Charlotte Dojo. And this all happened in North Charlotte, and I hope I'm getting all that right. And but I admire the man. He's my hero. And if I had a hero of the week, for instance, for this program, he would be my hero of the week. I will tell you, though, that I talk about a lot of personal things on these podcasts. And some people know, for instance, I worked in radio. I've written some books. I like these cars. And I talk about different things. People know that I used to have two dogs, Milo and Wolfie. I mentioned them in the credits. And so I know a lot of people kind of feel like they get to know me from watching these videos. I have not talked about everything on these videos because it's not always relevant. But I actually mentioned a while back martial arts, and I forgot what the context was, but I actually mentioned it and I said, that's something we can talk about later. And I glossed over it. Nobody asked. Apparently nobody cares, which is probably why I didn't mention it before. I thought maybe nobody cares. It turns out, though, that I actually spent some time dealing with martial arts. So I actually know quite a bit about the story I just told you. And what I have here in front of me is a piece of clothing that I own, and I earned this. And I can tell you right now that on that side of the belt, it says S.Y. Lee's, and that was the name of my Taekwondo instructor, Soo Young Lee. And I wonder if anybody from the school back in the day is watching these videos. If so, please contact me. My information's in the credits below. But back in about 1987, 88, 89, right around there, I spent a lot of time hanging out at Master Lee's martial arts school in Keego Harbor, Michigan. And Master Lee was a 7th degree black belt from Korea. And I really wanted to learn a martial art from somebody who learned it where it was from. And, for those of you who don't know, there's different schools of martial arts. People often call it karate. But karate, of course, is the Japanese martial art that came from Okinawa. Kung Fu is from China. And Taekwondo is from Korea. And I know people who run Taekwondo schools and they call them karate schools because that's just how Americans think. But one of the interesting things I'll tell you is that on this belt right here above those two stripes is my name in Korean. And so if you're a Korean reader, you can probably confirm for me that this is Stephen Leto. Which gets us to another point altogether. And that is, I've mentioned before that I call myself Steve. And very few people have called me Stephen with my permission. And one of them is Master Lee, Master Soo Young Lee, my instructor. Because it's interesting, when I went and met him for the first time and I decided to take classes from him, I'd never taken martial arts before. I was an adult. I was fairly athletic as a child and even as a young adult, but I'd never done anything like this. I went and met him. I liked him. I watched his classes and I decided to enroll. And on the first day of class, they give you a uniform, which in Japanese they'd call it gi, but we just call it a uniform, or there was a Korean word for it, which is escaping me at the split second. And he walked over and I'm wearing a white belt and a white uniform, and he took a magic marker and he said, "What is your name?" And I said, Steve. And he said, "What is your formal name?" And I said, "Stephen." And he said, "Okay." And he wrote Stephen in Korean, I'm assuming phonetically, on the collar of my uniform. And Master Lee always called me Stephen. And I was fine with that. And if you know anything about martial arts, you know there's a lot of bowing involved, a lot of yes sir, no sir if you're speaking to a male instructor, for instance. And it's all about respect. And there's a set of rules on the side of the school, where we worked out. And almost all the rules are talking about respect. And a lot of people think martial artists study how to fight. And no, it's self-defense. You're learning how to defend yourself. Yes, occasionally when you're defending yourself, you got to punch somebody in the face, or you may have to kick them. But it's self-defense. We don't start fights. We just know how to defend ourselves and end them. So a long, long time ago, I studied martial arts, and I have the belt here. And like I said, the belt is one of the rare places where in print it actually calls me Steven as opposed to Steve. And that, of course, is an homage to my instructor, Master Su Young Lee, who I studied with for many years. And I look back on very fondly of my time spent there. I wish the belt fit me today the way it did back then, but because it wraps around twice, it goes out of size very, very quickly, if you know what I mean, and that's a geometrical thing. But again, we got on this topic in the first place because of the gentleman who was forced to defend the woman who ran into his dojo looking for help. And again, this is Ephraim at Bushikin Karate Charlotte Dojo on CNN, getting a lot of props from around the country and around the world, and he deserves them. And the man is my hero, if nothing else. So I hope you enjoyed that casual Saturday, casual Friday, whatever you want to call it. Otherwise, talk to you later. Bye-bye.